Here we go.
What branding? Look at that branding.
Here comes the branding. Okay. And here we go. Billy Eichner wrote and stars in Bros, directed by Nicholas Stoller, also co-wrote the script. It is I would describe it as a raunchy comedy. There are parts of it that are raunchy. And Billy Eichner's character is a podcaster who is, he's very flamboyant, but he's also extremely opinionated and doesn't let anything go about his opinions. He's also caught up in gay hookup culture, on apps like Grindr and whatnot, just hooking up with dudes, but he never falls in love. In fact, he's 40 years old and he's never been in love. Doesn't care to even fall in love. One night out at a club, he finds this ripped dude played by, I want to get it right here, played by Luke McFarlane, his character's name is Aaron. Billy Eichner is Bobby. And they hook up, but it's an unlikely hookup in the sense that Billy's sort of this scrawny, skinny. He has like this sort of concave chest. And Aaron is buff, beefy. He looks like a Chad, but he's a Chad that's into dudes. So there you go. They have a couple of dates and kind of hit it off where they're into each other. Bobby's day job is, in addition to the podcast, he's working on the LGBTQ plus History Museum in New York City, and he's raising money. And they need $5 million to be able to open the museum. And so you've got with any romantic comedy, you've got your A plot, which is the romance. You've got your B plot, which is the workplace dilemma. And Bobby's friend group is a whole bunch of very flamboyant, very different couples. There's one gay couple that makes a big announcement to their friends that they've invited a third. They're now in a throuple. And this follows the same sort of things that you would see in a traditional romantic comedy. This follows them, but it's all been sugar-coated with rainbows and gayness. Now, and it ends just as you would expect. There's some issues with this. I saw a 6:15 p.m. screening at the AMC Burbank 16, and what I found to be interesting was almost no one was in the screening. There were maybe 15 of us in a theater for several hundred. Same thing with a lot of other screenings. I am a little disappointed that I don't know that the gay community really turned out, because I think this movie would have been more fun to see in a theater with a packed gay audience, because they're going to get jokes I'm not going to get. They're going to laugh in places I would not have laughed. And it would have made the experience of seeing the movie more entertaining. As it is, it was pretty quiet in the theater. Yes, there were some laughs, but they were few and far between. I'm sorry to say. Let's get into it for a second. I think there's a big question that I'm avoiding. And that big question is this. This is a gay-themed film, but can straight audiences enjoy it? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. I think it's actually, it's one of those things where I think it's like, and Norm Gidney is one of our writers who writes for Film Threat, happens to be gay, also a critic, has no interest in seeing the movie. And I get the sense that the movie's not gay enough for a gay audience. And it's maybe it's too vanilla for a gay audience, but it's way too hardcore for a straight audience. And I would say that that's absolutely true. I mean, there are sex scenes in the movie. So without I'm not going to go into detail about, I sort of gave you the breadth of the story, but one of the first, in the opening of the movie, Bobby, Billy Eichner's character, gets on an app, hooks up with a dude, and who he meets on Grindr. They kind of look each other over. They take each other's shirts off. They lay on the bed, and they both bring themselves to a finish. They don't physically show anything, so none of the sex in the film is graphic, but you know exactly what's going on. There are discussions of tops and bottoms and when people do it places. You know, what they're doing in their nether regions is made very clear, even though it's not shown. So it's sort of soap opera-ish in the sense that there are like maybe a sheet over covering the parts, but you know exactly what's happening. There's a sort of impromptu orgy that happens. There are a couple of those. And yeah, I'll just say this. It's not for me. I think it's definitely too gay for a straight audience. And I wanted it to be funnier. And I'll say this. There are gay filmmakers that I happen to love, right? A lot of them. John Waters is probably my favorite. I love John Waters. I wouldn't say necessarily that John Waters makes gay films. He makes films for audiences that like to laugh. They include gay characters and always have gay and very flamboyant characters and cross-dressing characters, drag queens, like Divine, a very famous drag queen. But I found Billy Eichner's character, and first of all, I'll say this. I like Billy Eichner. His Billy on the Street, hilarious. Billy as a side character in a movie or TV show, awesome. Billy for 2 hours is a bit much. And he is the lead in your movie. He is in nearly every scene in the movie. So, you know, the way that they've marketed this movie, there's sort of two marketing. One, I thought that first trailer for this movie was pretty awful. It basically told you this movie's not for you. And the end of that trailer ended with saying straight people, they had a good run. They even kind of make fun of just regular gay people, like cis male gay. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And first of all, I never use terms like cis because I think they're stupid. And I think that the term cis was invented to diminish men. And I'd never use it because it sounds like sissy. And I think that's stupid. And I think people make up these words, and I choose not to use that language. I only use it when I'm talking about it. And so I don't think we need more labels. Okay. I came from the generation that was like, hey, don't label me. Don't label me. And I'm still part of that generation and will remain so. Okay. So this need to label, give yourself 15 labels for everything, including pronouns. You're not that interesting. It doesn't make you more interesting. It doesn't make, to me, what makes you interesting is what's here, what's in your head, what's in your heart, what you're passionate about, those things. I don't care how you dress. I don't care what your hair color is. And that's fine. I also don't prejudge anybody that, you know, I actually love the fact that the one thing I like about California is people just feel free to just be whoever they are, like externally. It's like, I applaud that. That's great. Having said that, what I care most about is what's in your heart and what's in your head. Okay. Getting past that, I just don't think this is going to appeal to a straight audience. And I think a gay audience looks at this as this is leaning into gay stereotypes. There's another problem with this film. The history, the LGBTQ plus history museum. There are a bunch of scenes where there's a cast of sort of flamboyant characters, all different types, right? You've got one of the characters is bisexual, another is trans
female.
There's just all type lesbian, like great. And I'm told that they're very proud of the fact that all of the cast members of this movie are gay actors. They're all gay actors playing gay characters. Fine. That's great. I don't have an issue with that. This LGBTQ plus history museum, they make a lot of effort to suggest that Abraham Lincoln is gay. And I know that people have talked about this. Lincoln was he was a gay president, whatever. And it's pushed in this that, you know, Lincoln is part of this. They have this, that he's supposed to be, he's gay. And they're like, well, it's a theory. And a huge conflict, the big conflict that, of course, just like in any romantic comedy, and by the way, this is a little spoilery. So if you do plan to see Bros, okay, it's getting a little spoilery now. Okay. If you care about this. So this whole thing with the LGBTQ plus museum, they go to visit Bowen Yang, who's this famous TV producer, and he wants to have a ride, not like a roller coaster ride, but a little minecart ride of gay trauma. And it's like the ride takes you through all this gay trauma, and he'll give him the $5 million if they do the ride. And it's like, okay, we'll do the ride. So the museum's a little ridiculous. It's played up to just be kind of a caricature, but there is a thing where Bobby is meeting the parents of Aaron because now their relationship is getting more serious. They're exclusive. Okay. They're now like exclusively hooking up, and they consider bringing in thirds, which I guess is a thing, but they're like exclusive. And then he's meeting the parents, and Aaron's mom is a school teacher that teaches second grade. And Bobby's like, well, they should learn about LGBTQ stuff. And she's like, well, second grade's a little young. They get in this huge fight at dinner, and it separates, of course, Bobby and Aaron, right? Which, of course, it's a romantic comedy, so you already know how it's going to end. But that is an interesting thing, because what they're doing is they're taking the parental rights bill from Florida, aka known as the Don't Say Gay bill, and they have firmly inserted it as a thread in the film, because the main conflict is about, should second graders be going to this LGBTQ plus museum and seeing all these people from history who happen to be gay? The gay people have been around since the beginning of history, and so we're going to celebrate them at this museum. So that ends up being a conflict in the film, which is, of course, resolved by the end. But that was the part that had me going, no. I don't want to be lectured to at this thing. Like, I did not enjoy observing that debate take place on social media, and I don't want to see it in a movie. So that sort of was like a bridge too far for me. Was that I'm like, look, I like, and first of all, I like gay humor. I think it's fun. I have been to drag queen brunch at Hamburger Mary's on Santa Monica Boulevard. I think drag queens are hilarious. I think they're fun. I don't think they're for kids, ever, under any circumstance. I think that is a adult entertainment, just like a strip club or burlesque or any of that stuff. Okay, I'm pretty based when it comes to all of this, especially since I've raised 2 kids. So I think you introduce them to things like H.R. Giger at an appropriate age where you think they're ready for it, right? But second grade for me, hard pass. So this film, I'm surprised 2 things. One, that it's basically not hitting any audience. I think the trailer and the marketing has offended straight people who might actually consider seeing it. Secondly, a gay audience thinks that this is very stereotypical, and it's kind of turned off gay audiences. So I really wonder like who this movie is for. I think it's for people in Los Angeles and New York, and that might be it. And
yeah, it sounds like I'm sorry, but it sounds like it's basically a gay film trying to school straight people about, I think that's where it misses on both fronts. It's a lesson for us, but it's kind of a hyper reality for gay people, I think.
Yeah, and it's I'm open to seeing a film like this that could be funny, but I think when you actively like go after like heterosexuals, cis men, just the fact that they use that language all through the film was headache inducing. But yeah, I by the end it was just like that the sort of like push for the messaging in it like really kind of was a turnoff. Like, are we having this lecture now from Hollywood about how LGBTQ like agenda should be inserted in schools and everything? It's like it's so permeated everything that I think there's going to be a backlash against this film. I don't think it's going to do more than 10 million at the box office. It will not be number 1 at the box office. More than likely that'll be Smile, which is a broad appeal horror film. We'll talk about Smile later. But Bros, I think Billy Eichner, part of the problem is Billy Eichner for 2 hours, a little much. But I think what was telling was how they changed the marketing from the initial trailers, which were saying, straight people, this movie's not for you. And then he did these sort of viral things where he went with Jack Black on the streets of Hollywood, just interviewing people and asking them, hey, this is a movie that straight people can love. They kind of changed their tone in the marketing. And he interviewed people on the street. A lot of people said they didn't want to see it. So I feel like that's a reaction to, I just think there's a meme out there, and maybe Alan, you can find it, where it was a meme that like people put out during June Pride Month. It used to be like a weekend, a couple days. Then now it's like in a whole month. And it's sort of it's what I don't like is all the corporations that just kind of lean into it. It's sort of annoying, but it's a meme of someone holding a giant tuba with the thing, and it's like a rainbow tuba, and some kid is against the wall, and it's like all being like so forced. It's just like, okay, we get it, all right, we get it, but yeah, I won't be seeing it again. I can't recommend it. I think it's while the sex isn't graphic, it's not necessarily comfortable for straights, I guess. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. And it's like, it's fine. I have no problem. I'm just saying that, like, it's just a little much, right? So it's like too gay for a straight audience and maybe not authentically gay to a gay audience. So they're trying to be this middle of the road kind of mainstream comedy. And the other thing is, it's not that funny. A lot of the stuff, like that joke about straight people, they had a good run. Mm-hmm. You could hear a pin drop in the theater when that joke landed. Nobody laughed. So it was weird. And what I was surprised by, why isn't the theater packed? You know, we're in Southern California.
What city were you seeing it in?
Burbank.
No, you should have seen it in West Hollywood.
Okay, I should have seen it in West Hollywood.
Yeah. So this is a rom-com. Ultimately, the question is, well, did the romance work at all, or was it overwhelmed by the broader messaging?
No, the rom-com stuff was fine. The actors were fine. I think all the actors were good. I just think that the script, it just, like, they were trying to think, okay, well, this joke will land with the gays. They'll get that. This joke will land with the straights. This joke will just be for everybody. And I just feel like it was almost, I hate to say it was trying to be too broad appeal, and it didn't work. And like I say, I thought it was too gay for a straight audience, and it was sort of stereotypical gay. So gay audience is probably going to think, oh, this is so annoying. It's still through maybe a heterosexual lens, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there you go. I will be amongst all the YouTubers. I'm probably one of the few people who went to see this movie. But yeah, it's just not a very good movie for what it's trying to be.
Yeah.
Because Judd Apatow has been involved. Judd Apatow's the producer, by the way. Nicholas Stoller directed it and co-wrote it with Billy Eichner. But Judd Apatow has done some great comedies in the past.
So has Nicholas Stoller.
Right. Having said that, Judd Apatow has one major flaw with every single movie he makes. They're always too long. They're 20 minutes too long. Every Judd Apatow, it's like, oh, he's going to put all the deleted scenes in the movie. And that's kind of where we're at. But I want to go to your chat questions and comments here.
Let me just say one thing. It sounds like what happened was the big studio some studio finally gave money to fund a gay rom-com. And they kind of took that opportunity to then throw in, if we got this money now in this audience, we need to start saying things. And so they started piling in messages upon messages upon messages. And now this rom-com becomes second seat to this overall, this idea of we need to expose the world to gay culture and do it through a comedy. And I think when you try to do too much, you wind up watering everything. I think that's what happened here. They just watered down everything they tried to do.